question that I've been getting a lot recently is if it was easier for me to breastfeed my daughter because I'd already breastfed my son. And granted, I had him 8 years ago, but he breastfed until he was about 3. But I think that the essence of this question, or what people are wanting to know, is essentially, did my breast toughen up faster the second time around? Because with my son, it took about 2 weeks before my nipples toughened up and stopped bleeding, stopped feeling like a tiny needle or tiny like knives are being jabbed into them every time my son breastfed. And the answer is kind of yes. So for me, the first probably 4 days of my daughter's life, I had cracked, bleeding nipples. It was excruciating when she would latch on. I would just have to breathe through it. And so I was thinking, all right, it's going to be the same thing as with my son. It's going to take 2 weeks to get through this, and then I'll be okay. But one thing I say a lot is what I should have done when I was breastfeeding my son is I should have seen a lactation consultant, because I think there probably could have been some shifts in his latch that would have made it more comfortable, that would have reduced some of the cracking and bleeding. So I highly recommend seeing a lactation consultant if you're having a lot of pain. But I also knew that, okay, like last time, it might take about 2 weeks. The difference was this time, while I had that intense pain in the beginning, my nipples toughened up a lot faster. So after about 4 days, I was totally fine. It did not hurt at all to have her nurse. And what this kind of correlated with was my milk coming in. So my milk kind of started to come in about 2 days after she was born, but then it really came in with a vengeance at about 3 or 4 days. And I think that what happened was when my milk came in, she was able to, get that sustenance a little bit faster, a little bit quicker. So she wasn't just like sucking on like an empty boob. Whereas when it was just colostrum, she was like really like sucking hard to get it out. And I'm not saying there's no science behind this. This is just my experience. This is an anecdotal evidence. But she was like really, really sucking hard those first couple of days. And then again, when the milk came in, it was kind of a little bit more of a smoother process. She would just do a little suck and lots of milk would come out. So she wouldn't have to work as hard. She wouldn't have to work the nipples as hard to get that milk out, to get that sustenance. And she wasn't sucking as much because she was satisfied quicker. So at least that's why I believe it was a little bit easier. And again, I think my body just remembered the experience and again, toughened up a little bit faster. So yes, for me, breastfeeding was easier the second time around, but there's no guarantee. I could have experienced a drop in my milk supply. There could have been a lot of differences the second time around. So I'm curious to know from you, if you've had more than one baby and you chose to breastfeed them, what was your experience like the second, the third, maybe the fourth time around compared to your first breastfeeding journey?